I've always had a problem with schools. And it's because they take young men who are 10 and 12, who have ambition and purpose in them, hidden in their childish innocence. And they take these boys and they turn them into mutes. They turn them into hardcore incels. And I hate that. So I'm going to tell you about a story in my life about how schools had me really, really down bad. Welcome to Coffee Talks 4. I have a black Americano together because it's very, very hot outside. So let's get into this. It's back in 2023 and I'm in grade 10th and I live in India. So it's just at the end of the PT period. Me and my friend, I'm not going to say his name, he's my best friend. We've been best friends for 7 years now. We literally grew up together and we both walk in from our PT periods. We are both very sweaty, we're loud as fuck, and we're giving so many different curse words at everyone just because we can. And no one seems to have an issue with it because all the boys in our class used to be very, very non-innocent. So we have this banter, and it's all 8 or 9 boys it's a little group of 8 or 9 boys walking in from a PT period, and especially me and my friend, like we're very loud. And we're so loud that it's basically you could hear us talking over the entire class. So we enter the class and it's really hot. We turn on the fans, sit at the last bench because we are typically backbenchers. Even though I really was a smart ass at that time and I had really good grades, but we still sit at the back bench and me and him are sitting. And I had this one geography teacher. Again, I'm not going to say her name, but she was the worst teacher in my school. Nobody liked that teacher because she would always take her. Everybody knew she had marriage problems. She would take out all of her anger and frustration from her marriage and her kids out on us. She used to give us such severe punishment sometimes that we tried complaining, but she always had a loophole around us and it always backfired. So nobody really did something about her, and we had to just grudge ourselves against that period and get through those 30 minutes. So we forgot that it was her period because technically it wasn't. She was a substitution that day, and she walks in and the entire class just quietens, but I haven't seen her. My friend sees her and he punches me hard in the balls. And as a 10th grader, it hurts so much. And as a stupid 10th grader, I did what any one of you would do. I screamed. I screamed a curse word. I went fuck like very loudly. And the entire class is looking at me. And the teacher is looking at me. Now, in grade 10th, I was around 5'10, and this teacher is around 4'11. So, to be fairly honest with you, I was sitting and she walks up to me down the aisle, and my friend is has put his head down and he's laughing. And I know I fucked up, so I'm looking at her and I try to hide my smile, but I can see him laughing. So I apologize and she asks me to stand up. I was eye level at her when she was standing and I was sitting. So I stand up and I gain like 2 heads between me and her, and I'm looking down at her and I apologize again. She grabs me by the collar, takes me outside of the class, and she tells me to be there till the end of the period. And so I am there. And it just doesn't sit well with me because when she was taking me outside, I started to think about the fact that I actually hadn't done anything wrong. If you checked the cameras in the classroom, my friend actually did punch me in the balls. And that was a really, in my 10th grader's brain, even now, I agree, I would have still screamed, fuck if someone smashed my balls. But I just had this feeling. I had this feeling of being controlled. And I was like, I do not believe that it was my fault, ma'am. And I do apologize for screaming and saying a curse word. But I do not think I should be punished for this. And I don't think my friend should be. Because, I mean, wouldn't you agree? But this teacher was so mad at me, she slapped me across the face. She took me outside, and then I got really mad. I got so mad that I got so mad that I just screamed at her. I yelled at her when she was teaching the class, and she ignored me. So the next 5 minutes go by. I have this exasperated expression on my face, and I'm looking around. I'm looking at the entire classroom, and nobody gives a fuck. Every one of them is studying. So I continue standing there, and after 10 to 15 minutes, I give up. I just tell her that I don't even want to study geography, and she ignores me, and she tells the class to ignore me. So I'm standing right outside the classroom, and the classroom goes like you enter from this doorway, and the entire classroom is inside, and then you have this wall that separates the hallway from the classroom. So they had a chair outside of my classroom for anyone who wanted to sit. When like with the cleaners and stuff, they had a chair for the cleaners. So I go and sit on that chair, and for 15 minutes I sit there, and this teacher notices that I'm not standing there. So she comes outside, and it's 5. I check the time on my watch, and still wear the same watch, by the way. I check my time on the watch, and it's 5 minutes left for a period. She comes outside, and it's a ritual that's only the good teachers in our schools had, that the good teachers would always show up 5 to 7 minutes before the period started. And so I have a maths period, but the maths teacher actually kind of hates me. So I'm truly the geography teacher is talking to the maths teacher, and she's telling him what I did. And the maths teacher is giving me dirty looks. She tells me to stand up, tells me to tuck my shirt in, tells me to go to the washroom and wash my face. And right now, I think I'm off the hook, because technically, even though like I thought that she understood, the maths teacher understood, because her son used to be in our class. And so I go and wash my face, all smiley, and come back, and she tells me not sit on the chair and keep standing for the rest of the period. And now I'm truly angry. And at this point, I'm about to explode. And something unexpected happens. The principal of our school, this man who I always thought to be very masculine, who I always thought to be very, very, he was almost like a role model for me because I loved him. I loved how masculine he was, and I loved the personality he had, the discipline that he put in all of us since grade one, since I joined the school. And he shows up, and I actually never had a direct face to face conversation with him. And I've only seen him in school assemblies. So he comes up to me, he walks up to me, he asks me to stand up, and he's like, "Young man, please stand up." And I stand up. And he's taller than me. He's 6'5", and I'm 5'10" at the point in 10th grade. And he asks me why I'm sitting there. And I tell him the entire story with this angry expression on my face, not being guilty or sorry for anything I did, not having any shame. And I thought he would understand. He told me not to sit on the chair. He took the chair out of, like, I was standing, he took the chair from behind me. He kept scraping the chair across the hallway. So all the teachers in the different classrooms came out and saw me. And he put the chair at the end of the hallway. And then he told me if he sees me again in the camera of the hallway, going across it and actually getting the chair, that he'll suspend me for a week. And at this point, I'm pretty shit scared. And for the next 20 minutes, I just stand outside the classroom, hoping that the teacher would forgive me. But my sorry ass 10th grader version could not apologize. It did not sit well with me. I could not just go up to this teacher who just has this negative image of me by her own imagination and apologize for something that I wasn't responsible for. And the period ends, and now it's the final last period. And it's my favorite teacher. I'm really in a good book. So the maths teacher comes out of the classroom. She looks at me and she tells the history teacher what happened. And the history teacher takes pity on me. But before she told me what's up, she asked me to come forward. So it's me right here, the history teacher right here, and the maths teacher right here. All of them are females, by the way. The history teacher starts scolding me, and she says that I should not have done what I did and I should formally apologize. So I did. And after the maths teacher goes away, my history teacher, who I thought would, tell me that I'm off the hook, who actually started scolding me more. She was like, even if you messed up, even if you didn't, it's your job to apologize because you shouldn't have an ego. And the 10th grader me was, ma'am, I will have to stand outside and apologize. But it now I'm 17, not 15. I've passed grade 12th, and looking back, I feel like I should have apologized. I still feel like I should not have apologized. I agree 100% that every man is supposed to take responsibility in their life, be truly, truly responsible for his own actions. And even if that friend had crushed my balls, I still should not have screamed like that. I should have been calm and composed. And I do think that I was at fault there, but I still don't think I should have, I should have apologized like I did. So that's Coffee Talks for today. That's the story I wanted to tell you of how schools had me down. And That's just the moment I wanted to share with you of how schools made me feel all feminine, and how 4 years after school, I still feel like if I hadn't that if I hadn't had that experience, my masculinity would not have been so downgraded for the next 2 years that throughout school I would just be an incel. And it took a lot of time for me to chase through that. And I hope if you've been in a similar situation like this, I hope you will look back and see that you weren't actually at fault, and it's the school system that fucks up your masculinity. So yes, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.